As educators, we want to close the gap between modern neuroscience and optimal teaching strategies. We want the best for our students because we want the best for our future. Some people are left brain, others are right brain. It's a popular neuromyth that has been disseminated throughout modern history. This myth describes how a person's way of thinking and personality is based on their dominant brain hemisphere. It goes, the left brain is the rational, intellectual, logical, analytical side. So these people do well in math, engineering, or the natural sciences. The right brain is attributed to being intuitive, having emotional intelligence, and possessing a visuospatial mode of processing, resulting in a creative or holistic way of thinking. So the implication is that the left brain is the sensible side and the right brain is the artistic side. We do know that early neuro researchers found that two halves of the brain, right and left, process information differently. A notable figure in hemisphere research is the late neuropsychologist Roger Wolcott-Sperry. His research with the California Institute of Technology and split-brain cats led to discovering that cutting the corpus callosum was and is an effective treatment for epilepsy patients. We now know that severing the corpus callosum prevents seizures from moving from one hemisphere to the other, which interrupts the entire seizure from occurring. Roger Sperry once referred to the brain as two separate realms of conscious awareness, two sensing, perceiving, thinking, and remembering systems. So to relate this back to educators, I can understand how these findings of hemisphericity influence simple but inaccurate interpretations of this information. Now, as a result of these inaccurate interpretations, educational programs and packages claiming to enhance student learning by tapping into brain-based learning principles, which involves trying to balance processing in the two hemispheres by including both analytical and creative aspects in the tasks. However, we know that these programs are now based on inaccurate conclusions. A study in 2013 entitled An Evaluation of the Left Brain versus Right Brain Hypothesis was conducted at the University of Utah, where researchers analyzed brain scans from over 1,000 subjects to determine whether one side of the brain was more active or connected than the other. Now, the researchers found no evidence to support the notion that people are intrinsically left or right-sided in the way that their brain is wired. And the authors concluded in their paper, such connections do not result in a subject-specific global brain lateralization difference that favors one network over the other, or left-brained or right-brained. So can neuroscience research translate into the classroom? The answer is definitely yes, and in different ways than one may have considered. In the reading Neuroscience for Educators, What Are They Seeking and What Are They Finding?, the authors, Hook and Farah, concluded that learning about neuroscience can help educators maintain patience, optimism and professionalism with their students, increase their credibility with colleagues and parents, and renew their sense of professional purpose. However, they do know that educators lack the scientific training needed to critically assess the methods of neuroeducation. And numerous authors have commented that interdisciplinary collaboration is critical to the success of neuroeducation. Now, Benedict Carey successfully presents the findings of neuroscience in entertaining and informative ways. His book, How We Learn, is a phenomenal resource because it takes hard science, backed by data and analysis, and applies them to everyday ways of optimizing learning. This resource is not just for teachers, but a valuable tool to anyone wanting to hack their neuroprocesses in respect to memory and information acquisition and retention. For example, we learned that pre-tests can help tune in the brain for essential information to come. Elizabeth Bjork, a psychology professor at UCLA, says pre-testing primes students to notice important concepts later on. And her husband and fellow psychology professor at UCLA, Robert Bjork, added, the tests adjust our thinking in some ways to the kind of material we need to know. Another study at University of Michigan in the 1970s showed a simple change in study environment improved retrieval strength by 40%. Carey said, the larger message of context research is that in the end, it doesn't matter which aspects of the environment you vary, so long as you vary what you can. So encouraging students to take the simple step of making environmental changes before studying will aid in knowledge acquisition. Other tips that Carey discusses are spacing out studying time over multiple sessions rather than a condensed block of time. He notes that sleep is essential in our brain's ability to store, consolidate, and process new and old information. And taking a significant break when we feel as though we have run out of insight will allow our subconscious to kick in and feed us aha moments. Now, evidence suggests that learning about neuroscience research can help prevent teachers from falling prey to misguided brain-based practices in marketing. There's still a lot of research that needs to be conducted because there's so much that we do not know about the brain. Relying on works by science journalists such as Benedict Carey, we can implement new insights in neuroscientific research into our pedagogies. The myth of being right or left brain dominant is inaccurate, but it may be useful, if an accurate way, to introduce to children how learning does take place in the brain. So perhaps this is one of those myths that can be more helpful than harmful because it can be used to pique students' interests and expose them to concepts of neuroscientific research. Thank you for watching.